it's time that all the banks, all the financial institutions, as well as corporates, allocate a small portion of their budget to cyber audits. If an investigator, what a difficult and onerous and enormous task it is to investigate this case. 28 countries one has to coordinate, and from there, through ATMs, more than 100 crores were siphoned off. We have recovered till now only 12 crores. 88 crores, the criminal is still laughing his way to the bag. Our recommendation to the government, and I hope this recommendation will be accepted by the central government, that darknet should be totally banned in India like what China has done. First of all, a big thank you for providing this platform to me. And it's an honor and privilege to be speaking on a very, very relevant topic of the day, cybercrime. So CIU News is doing a human service in spreading awareness about the new digital revolution. So my presentation today is basically dealing with the futuristic scenario as well as the present scenario with the perspective of law enforcement. Audible enough? With the perspective of law enforcement. There will be a lot of speakers here talking about fintech or financial aspects, but there is a very, very big umbrella of law enforcement. Many times certain acts are done which contravene the law and the person is oblivious of the fact that this is a violation of the law. Second area of concern is that cybercrime is spreading its tentacles and it's a burgeoning force now. Earlier it was like a concept which happened with someone. But now, cybercrime is impacting the lives of every organization, every citizen. That's why our department has to work extra to live up to the expectations of the people. And the biggest bulwark against cybercrime is definitely awareness. So hence, I'm here to spread some awareness because all the structures crumble if any organization is subjected to a massive cybercrime like ransomware, data theft, or introduction of a malware. The reputation, prestige, as well as the brand equity of that organization takes a severe beating. So it is very important that we become aware of the current scenario of cybercrime and how it can impact our finances as well as businesses. So this presentation is based on an article I wrote in Times of India a few months back. Let me see how this works. Okay, so this is the article. The whole presentation is based on this article. For more academic audience, you can Google, and there are 8 or 10 such series of articles on cybercrime, sextortion, ransomware, nation-state attacks, etc. So it will cover a whole gamut of cybercrime activities. But this is a general article, and it covers a lot of facets about cybercrime. So before we start, I would like to show you a small movie on cybercrime that we recently made. It is yet to be published, but a very informative movie, and it has some celebrity suggestions also. So it covers most of the facets of cybercrime, and then we'll deal with each of them in a slightly more exhaustive manner. Okay.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए।
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए।
सोशल मीडियाची आपल्याला सवय पण आहे आणि गरज पण।
400 करोड़ लोग के आसपास
डेली बेसिस पे सोशल मीडिया यूज करते हैं
और यही संख्या आकर्षित करती है क्राइम की गतिविधियों।
कहीं बैंक्स के सर्वर पर मैलवेयर अटैक्स से हैकर्स ने करोड़ों रुपए निकाल लिए।
और किसी की रिलीजन, फेथ, कलर, कास्ट और क्रीड पर कमेंट करने से पहले 2 बार सोचिए।
सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म जैसे फेसबुक, इंस्टाग्राम पर किसी की ख्याति खराब करना आप पर भारी पड़ सकता है।
अपनी पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन किसी के साथ शेयर न करें।
जो नाम कमाने में आपको उम्र भी चाहती है, वो कुछ ही पलों में आपकी इज्जत की धज्जियां उड़ा।
जो न्यूज़ या इंफॉर्मेशन कम्युनल हार्मनी को डिस्ट्रक्ट करते हैं, उन्हें प्लीज फॉरवर्ड।
सभी लोगों को ये पता होना चाहिए कि इस तरह का बिहेवियर साइबर क्राइम की श्रेणी में आता है।
अनेक एंटी नेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस नौजवानों को मिसलीड कर उन्हें इन्फ्लुएंस करने का प्रयास करते हैं।
रेगुलरली अपने बच्चों से बात करते रहें।
अगर कोई बैंकर या फिर गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल बनकर आपसे आपकी बैंक डिटेल्स, CVV पिन या फिर OTP मांगे तो कृपया ना दें।
कुछ साल पहले एक मुंबई में रहने वाली महिला रिपोर्टर ब्रीच ऑफ प्रायव्हसी का शिकार बनी।
इथे आपले डेबिट कार्ड और क्रेडिट कार्ड स्वाईप होतं तेव्हा अशी शक्यता असते की कार्ड स्कीमर वापरून आपल्या कार्डचे डिटेल्स चोरले जाऊ शकतात।
क्योंकि महाराष्ट्र साइबर सेल आप लोगों के पीछे पड़ा है जो कि साइबर क्राइम्स कमिट कर रहे हैं।
महाराष्ट्र साइबर डिपार्टमेंट साइबर स्पेस में सुरक्षा के लिए बेहतरीन काम कर रहा है और आप भी इसमें अपना सहयोग दें, एक रिस्पॉन्सिबल नेटिजन बनके।
महाराष्ट्र साइबर डिपार्टमेंट आपको हर तरह के साइबर क्राइम्स जैसे ऑनलाइन फ्रॉड्स, फिशिंग अटैक्स, हेट मेल्स, फेक न्यूज, इन सभी से सुरक्षित रखने के लिए प्रयासरत है।
Okay, so this was a small movie capturing the essence of cybercrime in a very lucid way. So the main idea is that none of the organizations which uses information technology with or without an internet is immune to cybercrime. None of the organizations. So it's time that all the banks, all the financial institutions, as well as corporates, allocate a small portion of their budget to cyber audits, which is very, very important. So in this article, I have highlighted that now cybercrime has become the largest or the biggest organized crime syndicate in the world. Many of you must have watched movies in Netflix like Narcos and narco trafficking. But I must tell you, cybercrime is more than 3 times of narco trafficking in the world right now. So it is touching about $6 trillion last year, according to Forbes, which is more than twice India's economy. So this is the humongous nature and the kind of reach cybercrime has already achieved. And by 2025, when we hope to be a $5 trillion economy, cybercrime will easily surpass $10 trillion at this given pace. So that's the kind of, the cybercrime effect it's happening all over the world. So it's no longer a lone savant in hoodie which is doing cybercrime. There are several organizations well-funded on professional lines whose only profession is to commit cybercrime. You might have heard about a recent raid in Mewat in Haryana. It's a small village, but the beauty of this operation is that 400 cyber criminals were arrested. 4,000 duplicate or fake SIMs were recovered. And it has better internet connectivity than even Bombay, because they have paid the internet service providers and got the towers erected there. So this is the kind of well-funded organizational structure of cybercrime we are witnessing in the country right now. Okay, so these are certain iconic cases of cybercrime that have happened in Maharashtra, and yet we are not very much aware of them. For example, there's an organization called Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, very recently victim of ransomware. They have yet not recovered their data. Just a few months back, JNPT, the largest inland container port, was a victim of ransomware attack again. Even now, certain operations are being done manually in pen and register. So it is very important that none of the organizations are immune from cybercrime. Recently, AIMS, still nobody knows who caused that data theft and ransomware attack on the Indian premier medical institute, AIMS. So another case is that of Cosmos Bank that we are still investigating. About 100 crore rupees were siphoned off in a swift operation through ATMs in 28 countries. So you understand, if an investigator, what a difficult and onerous and enormous task it is to investigate this case. 28 countries one has to coordinate. And from there, through ATMs, more than 100 crores were siphoned off. We have recovered till now only 12 crores. So 88 crores, the criminal is still laughing his way to the bank. That's the transnational nature and difficulty in investigation of cybercrimes. So, okay, so now this is a small history how internet was born. When we are talking about so much bleak scenario, in the 60s, internet was just a small network of computers that US government had launched to do some file transfers or government data transfer. But imagine, in about 50, 60 years, internet has become such a humongous facet of our life. None of our activities, daily activities, remain unaffected by internet. So this is how the internet had a humble beginning, but it has now surpassed all our expectations, and the future scenarios are even more prevalence of connectivity, internet, and along with that, apart from so many benefits like IoTs, driverless cars, clone armies, etc. You can talk about a lot of benefits, but there's a lurking aspect of cybercrime always when internet assumes more and more importance. So these are few cases that I have culled from our own investigation files, which highlight certain aspects of cybercrime in a very unique and innovative manner. This is my favorite case which we solved and arrested the criminal. It is the case of a lady journalist who used to live in a typical Mumbai studio apartment, and she was inured to chatting with strangers on the net, not realizing that what a danger is lying behind that. And while talking to one of the cyber criminals who was arrested later on, he introduced a malware or a virus in her system called Video Keylogger, which was a very innovative, out-of-the-box malware at that point of time. So what Video Keylogger did, that it just copied all the keystrokes of the victim and via her own internet transferred it via email to the cyber criminal. Not only that, the speciality of this malware was that even the webcam was switched on inadvertently without the knowledge of the victim, due to which all her pictures, videos in that studio apartment were transferred to the cyber criminal using her own resources of internet. So after a few months, this cyber criminal started traumatizing this lady journalist, and even blackmailing and threatening her with her photographs, with her bank account details, with her intimate letters, pictures, etc., everything. He had more information about the lady than the lady himself. Then it was at that point of time, on the verge of breakdown, and after trying to commit suicide, that this lady approached the police. And then through IP address tracing and other techniques, we could somehow catch on to this criminal and arrested him. And he turned out to be a school dropout who had just downloaded this Video Keylogger virus. And we could still arrest him because at that point of time, it's about a decade-old case, VPNs and the onion router, Tors were not prevalent. Otherwise, we would have got the IP addresses of Uzbekistan or Iran or Iraq, somewhere else. So now we have to bring more sophistication to our techniques to catch such criminals. So, but this was one case which is a pointer of the trends which are happening in the field of cybercrime even now. Okay, this is another favorite case study that we do, is that a few Chinese students hacked onto certain NASA networks, and they could control the trajectory of 2 satellites that NASA had just launched. And to everybody's horror, the satellites, instead of going up, started coming down. This is not science fiction or my own figment of imagination. This is a celebrated case in cybercrime. NASA had to quickly destroy these satellites in order to prevent a massive damage. If these satellites would have dropped onto the Earth, it would be a weapon of mass destruction, more than few nuclear bombs. So this is how cybercrime can be converted into cyber terrorism, which is the biggest worry of law enforcement agencies and intelligence agencies all over the world. So there are various forms of cybercrimes that are, metamorphizing into newer forms every single day. As we talk, we are grappling with eSIM frauds, virtual kidnapping, pig sharking, online instant loan frauds. Recently, we did a case in which certain Chinese nationals were involved in online instant loan frauds and online scams. And a lot of others. As we speak, new modus operandi are being invented by a factory of cyber criminals. So now again, a very, very celebrated case. I think all of you must have heard about Pegasus. Malware manufactured by an Israeli company called NSO. Now the beauty about Pegasus is it is only one unique feature, which makes it so difficult to detect and very expensive, is its zero-click feature. That means for a normal malware to be installed into your system, at least the victim has to click the link once, like what lady journalist did. She clicked the link many times, in which a phishing attack was launched, and she was made to believe something very interesting will open if she clicks that. But now people have become wiser. It's difficult to make aware people click on suspicious or frivolous links. However, what NSO has done in this Pegasus malware is that there is no need to click. It automatically roots the system and gets attached to the phone, which is amazing, incredible, in fact, and nobody knew about it. So that's how about estimated 8,000 Pegasus malware were loaded all over the world. And this zero-click feature makes it an expensive software, and one license was sold for more than 7 crores Indian rupees. However, if we have a one-click malware, which does the same things as Pegasus, it is available free of cost on the darknet. So that's the difference. Just one click from software available gratis to 7.5 crore Indian rupees. So Cosmos Bank I've already talked about, so I'll just quickly skip this slide for want of time. Okay, now we come to a very, very, a phenomenon which is the biggest apprehension and worry for law enforcement officers. In 2020, if you remember in Mumbai, for a few hours, there was an electricity outage in the height of COVID crisis. Even the ventilators stopped working. Local trains stopped working. Hospitals stopped working. Electricity was out for 4 hours. This was at the peak of Indo-China Galwan crisis. So lot of people pointed out that this could be a case of cyber sabotage. When the government realized that, the case was handed over to us, and we went to the SCADA servers of Electricity Department, Maharashtra, and we thoroughly analyzed them. And to our horror or shock, we found 14 Trojan horses whose origin were from US and China and few other countries as well. So these 14 Trojan horses were of the same family which had caused electricity outage in Ukraine in 2015 and 18. So we could prove that it was a case of cyber sabotage, and the protective systems, the firewalls, the antivirus systems, the air gapping between IT and OT systems were sadly all squandered and missing in this particular case. So that's why we always reiterate and re-emphasize that every organization should go for a cyber audit through an accredited agency at least once in 6 months. And please bring up those SOPs and protocols for cyber hygienic behavior in the organization. You know, in some organizations I've seen, employees are downloading pirated versions of software and movies from their official servers, due to which the air gapping between administrative, IT, and OT servers gets compromised. And along with that pirated version of that movie, song, software, etc., comes a malware, which takes over and creates a kind of an attack scenario on that system. This is what is suspected to be the cause of AIM's ransomware attack as well. However, official report is yet to come. So now, the cybercrime has many heads. It's a hydra-headed monster. For example, when we talk about darknet, darknet is totally become a platform of criminals. Does anybody know why darknet was created? Actually, darknet was created to preserve democracy. There were certain Cold War was going on between America and communist bloc of countries. And in certain countries, America felt that democracy was being stifled. So they created darknet, by which so-called liberated, unorthodox, pro-democratic people can interact with each other through the darknet. But now, with India being a vibrant democracy, there is no need of darknet in India. In my opinion, darknet serves no positive purpose. There are marketplaces in darknet where you can order drugs, where you can order weapons, you can order hand grenades, you can order rocket launchers, you can even order AK-47s. There are marketplaces which claim that you can hire even a Supari killer. You just have to send the picture and address of the person, and through cryptocurrency, one can transfer money, and it is claimed that that person will be eliminated in a fixed number of days. However, I have never found a real life case of such killing through darknet. But these are all the claims of, for example, there's a website on darknet called Azerbaijan Eagles, which claim that you can just hire a contract killer on the darknet. So our recommendation to the government, and I hope this recommendation will be accepted by the central government, that darknet should be totally banned in India like what China has done. So all the drug trafficking, drug cartelization, human trafficking through darknet, and all other crimes, even there are darknet forum where anti-national elements discuss how to launch drone attacks on vulnerable, iconic targets. So this all will come to a standstill if darknet is banned in India, and which I always recommend, and this could be the way forward. So AIMS and JNPT ransom attack, very, very recent and very alarming. So these are the things which are actually happening in our country. And the only way to prevent them is awareness and regular cybersecurity audits. Okay, now we come to the last portion of this presentation. Do I have time or I have exceeded? Okay, otherwise I'll skip this portion. This is a little legislative portion. Okay, so I'll just take 1 or 2 minutes and then I will be open for some interaction if anybody has any doubts, queries, suggestions, feedback. So now our cybercrime landscape in the country is governed by a legislation called Information Technology Act. Anybody aware when this act was last modified? Yes. Yes. So isn't it ironical that we are having an anachronistic act which has not been changed for last 15 years? And the cybercrime firmament in the last 15 years has totally undergone an absolute change. 15 years back, we hardly had these kind of modus operandi. We didn't have Jamtara, we didn't have Mewat, we didn't have sextortion, we didn't have ransomware attacks, we didn't have online frauds. Maybe a few I love you type of virus or malwares which were being propagated. So what I have recommended, our department has recommended, that a newer IT Act should be brought on the anvil, and I'm sure this year a brand new IT Act with more stringent provisions and encompassing all these newer forms of cybercrime will be brought out. And it will have a deterrent effect on the minds of the criminal. Right now, you might have heard that in US, even life imprisonment is being given to cyber criminals. For example, child pornography or child human trafficking through internet. Even life imprisonment is being given. But here in India, our act was mainly to facilitate e-commerce. The criminal as part of it, or the criminal penalties relating to e-commerce were conspicuous by their absence. So now we are likely to have a legislation which will be attuned to the latest development in the field of cybercrime. Thank you very much. And last point I want to say, if you are a victim or you are aware that a certain cybercrime has taken place in your organization or in your vicinity, please contact us. We are available on all social media platforms. We have our email. If you Google us, Maharashtra Cyber Department, you'll get our emails, phone numbers, etc. So you don't have to go anywhere. You have to just log on to NCCRP portal, National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, file your complaint, and we'll do the rest. So we have tried to make things very simple for the netizens if they are victim of any type of frauds, sextortion, ransomware, or any other type of data theft or phishing attack or any other types of cybercrime. You can easily avail the kind of framework we have set up through our portals, emails, and on all social media platforms. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patient hearing.